Hey, so I just got back from seeing the Elvis movie with my 16-year-old daughter in the movie theater today. And so today is June 28th, 2022. Um, I was born in the late 70s. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I didn't actually um, well, I wasn't, it's not like I was old when I discovered Elvis, but I discovered Elvis in the summer of 1991 when I was 11 years old. Actually, the way that I discovered Elvis was my sixth grade teacher brought in Beatles music for us to listen to. And before that, I hadn't listened to the Beatles. I was 80s kid. I was all into Debbie Gibson and Tiffany and Mariah Carey and New Kids on the Block and all of that stuff. And my sixth grade teacher brought in, I guess it was CDs or vinyl at that time, I'm not even sure, but we listened to the Beatles in the classroom. And so that was the first time that I was introduced to the Beatles. And that was the first time that I learned of the Beatles versus Elvis Presley. Like, I don't know if it still is like that, but at times it has been you were either a Beatles fan or you were an Elvis Presley fan. And I was 11 years old, and I immediately fell in love with Elvis Presley, with his charisma, with his music, with his heart. And it was just the summer of 1991. I listened to a lot of Elvis music. I watched almost every single one of his movies. I went to our local like VHS movie shop and like rented day by day each Elvis movie. So I spent that entire summer of 1991 completely immersing myself in all of Elvis's music and all of Elvis's movies at 11 years old. Which I have to say, I still just love Elvis's energy. He had this something, this charisma, this voice, this heart, this soul that it was almost like his music was the doorway that he opened to everyone for you to come in and visit his soul. It was magic. It is magic. The beauty of music is that we have it forever, you know? So it's like when Elvis sings, it's like his soul is this living room and he's opening the door and he's like inviting you in, you know? Anyway, but so I was completely just in love with him, in love with his music, his soul, his music, and the way that he sings, and the soul behind it just speaks to me in such a humongous way. And so, anyway, today I went to go see the Elvis movie I am now 42 years old. So, me right now, I am how old Elvis was when he died. And I went to see the movie with my 16-year-old daughter today, which, of course, as an Elvis fanatic, as an Elvis fan, I've raised my kids to be Elvis, not exactly Elvis fans, but they know of Elvis, they know of Elvis music. I'm very, very vocal about like telling them about Elvis and telling them about like his story, what happened, and like, just Elvis music and all of that. So they've been raised in this household that Elvis music they've known since birth. Like, Yeah. So, uh, I want to say that this movie, this Elvis movie, was done really, really well. Like, there's moments where you just feel so pulled in, and you understand Elvis and what he went through in such a human way that, like, we're so used to Elvis, this superstar, right? This internationally known superstar, right? This brand Elvis, this everything Elvis. And I not only love the way that it speaks to how Elvis was really, really just so before his time in his love and his just, acceptance of people, no matter what color your skin was. And he was just so accepting, and so he was just before his time, and you could see so much of that like in his music and in his sound. And it's a beautiful thing because he really, really brought the world together and brings the world together. But in this movie, you see that, and you see how that immersion happened. And um, you know, I'm not going to give too much away because you need to go see this movie. You need to go see this movie, whether you are an Elvis fan or not. Take your kids with you, like, teenagers and up or whatever. Um, but this movie gives you this insight into the human, the actual human behind the persona. And it touches so much on generational trauma, and it touches so much on so many different issues that we are even seeing right now, in the world right now. It's so prevalent. And when you see what he went through and what our country was going through and everything, like when in his heyday, it's just so prevalent to what we're going through now. And it was just so powerful and so beautiful, for me to be sitting there watching this movie with my 16-year-old daughter, and knowing that I'm 42 years old right now. And when I was 11 and just discovered Elvis, when I learned that, he died at 42, for me at that time, I thought that was old, and here I am, 42, exactly the same age that he was when he died. And I can appreciate him more now as a human being, as what he went through, as just everything. So this is a total, like, gift, I would say, is, just watch this movie, go see this movie. I just think that much there's so much context in this movie that we can talk about. So much to talk about, so much to discuss, so much to unpack. So much to just realize that, like, these people, like, he was just a human being who was trying to make it in this world and live his best life and trying to help others and all of that stuff. And just, I mean, he changed things. He changed things in a big way. And one human being doing that is an incredible thing. And I think my biggest takeaway that I take from that I want to share with you today is just that. We're always saying, one person can't make a difference. Elvis made a huge difference, because one person doing something trickles down into the rest, So I want to leave you with that's what I took from this movie. First of all, love him, love this movie. It was really, really done well. And see him as a human being, see the family, everything. And for the truth you know, it's not, it's okay. It's okay to talk about your generational trauma. It's okay to share this, like, we're not perfect kind of thing, because nobody has to be perfect to inspire the world. Nobody has to be perfect to change the world. Nobody has to be perfect. And that's my takeaway, and that's the takeaway that I want to share with you, is that one person can make a difference. One person sets off this trickle. So yeah, yeah. Keep being the difference, and keep standing tall in who you are, and owning your story, owning your truth, telling your truth, and let's all heal. Let's all heal, because the generational trauma that we keep allowing to get down and trickle down into our family, if we could just heal, if we could work on our healing, then we can heal generations to come. Our healing heals generations. So, yes, there's a lot to learn about everything in this movie. There's so much to take away from this movie. And there's so much to take away from his music and everything. So let me know, have you seen the movie? And are you going to go see the movie Elvis? And I hope that you enjoyed this takeaway and me sharing some of my story with you. And if you want to share any of your story, or any of, when did you get into Elvis? And all that stuff, please do in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you.